From,
your recliner and
here's
Y'all already called the DA's office? I don't know.
Side above the elevator is where the maintenance house is.
Yeah. Yeah.
text from Ray.
That's all they did. Just like the window.
Is it okay?
Yes. First, second, first, federal, ag challenges, also, temporary
You look like you're about to.
Sure.
No, I'm fine.
What?
I'm fine.
I fell asleep for you.
Nobody else.
I've had two
It's fine.
really good night's sleep, so I'm probably the best situated in the whole courtroom for sleep.
on the same page.
Well, we quit around that
Yeah, but you just quit reminded me you was over.
Too real.
Doesn't mean I couldn't take a nap though. That's not out of the question.
I think no matter how old you are, you would always take naps.
Of course, if it's a pretty day, it would be more difficult.
But I'd be outside. So.
Yeah, we did yesterday. Even on my backyard, maybe it's dry by now.
There's the apparatus. They don't have ratchets.
Somebody give us some donuts.
That's my way. That's all. That's my way.
Ray, did I tell you I got him on a good practical note?
They did. I gave you credit.
Yeah.
Got you covered.
All rise. Court is now back in session. You may be seated.
And I'm told that the jury has reached a verdict. All right, let me just make one short announcement. I realize that this has been a very emotional case for a lot of folks and that there's been a great deal of interest in this case. This jury has done an admirable job of trying to pay attention and give it serious consideration. For that reason, whenever they announce their verdict, whatever that verdict is, I expect everyone in this courtroom to control their emotions and to not have any outbursts. If you cannot do that, you need to leave now, because to violate this order could lead to sanctions, which I do not want to have to impose. So, under the circumstances, if you have any reason to think that you're not going to be able to control your emotions and prevent some sort of outburst, you need to leave now. Otherwise, we're going to bring the jury in. Bring the jury in. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you will have a seat. All right. I am advised that you have been able to reach a verdict. Is that correct? As foreman, would you stand and let me address? What I'd like to do is go through this verdict form with you, and starting with count one. And count one of the indictment as to the charge of first-degree murder, how does the jury find?
Not guilty, sir.
All right. In the lesser included offense of second-degree murder, how does the jury find?
Guilty, sir.
All right. Then as to count two of the indictment, as to the charge of first-degree murder in the perpetration of a felony crime, how does the jury find?
Guilty, sir.
All right. As to count three of the indictment, as to the charge of aggravated child abuse, how does the jury find?
Guilty, sir.
As to count four of the indictment, the charge of initiating a false report, how does the jury find?
Guilty, sir.
And as to count five of the indictment, tampering with evidence, how does the jury find?
Guilty, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to each affirm that this is in fact your unanimous verdict. Is that correct? Yes. All right, so the record reflects that the juries have all unanimously affirmed this is their verdict. As the 13th juror, this court affirms this jury's verdict as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this has been a tough 8, 9 days, whatever it's been, 10 days that you've been here with us. I can only tell you that on behalf of the entire Dixon County, we and the 23rd Judicial District, we thank you for your service. You've given it a lot of attention, a lot of effort, and taken it very seriously as your role as the jurors. So thank you for your assistance, and you may now exit the courtroom unless there's something. Is there anything that either side has before I discharge the jury?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You may return to the jury room, and we'll make arrangements for your transportation. If you'll hand that to the bailiffs, they'll turn that in. So. All right, the jury has reached their verdict, and I have affirmed that verdict. As the parties, as the lawyers know, that the count one and count two of the indictment would be merged based upon the jury's findings. We would need to set a sentencing hearing for the remaining counts, which would be 3 through 5, and the sentencing hearing date that I can propose would have to be in September. Any reason we can't do it at our normal Dixon County docket? We'll have a pre-sentence report prepared, and then we'll have a sentencing hearing on September the 14th at 1 p.m. That's the jail docket, 1 o'clock. All right. Based upon those facts, then the court will remand Mr. Daniels to the custody of the Dixon County Sheriff's Department pending the sentencing hearing on September the 14th. I know this has been a difficult case for both the defense and for the state, and I would just like to say that I think you've both done an admirable job of representing your respective interests, and I thank you for your cooperation in helping this case to go smoothly. That having been said, I believe that concludes our business. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Just, my client has requested, if possible, that he get to go back to Riverbend,
I don't have a problem with that. The state have any problem with that? I think it would be more appropriate for him to be there where he has been in the past than to be anywhere else anyway, so.
Thank
all
you.
right. All right, that concludes our business then. This court stands adjourned.